So I mean, the Messiah is not supposed to return in the scripture until the man of sin be revealed, the lawless one,
Exactly.
the anti-Mashiach.
Right, and he gives us these instructions again. The Messiah, when he comes back, and he's going to gather us from the four winds of the earth, from all around the globe, from which he scattered.
At one time.
At one time. Not just a handful of people from one city. Like I said, I'm from Chicago, and man, I've been left behind.
You missed the rapture.
But seriously, look what it said. It says right here, look what it says.
What?
For there shall arise, this is Matthew 24:24.
Oh,
but there shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it was possible, they shall deceive the very elect. It said, behold, I've told you before. Now wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he's in the desert, go not forth. If he's in the secret chambers, believe it not. Why is it that he gave us instruction? Why are we not listening? He said if he's in the desert, don't go.
And Demona happens to be in the desert. They called it, you can Google it, they call it the jewel of the desert. Jewel in the desert.
And if you're the Messiah, right, what are you doing living in the desert? In a place where they dump their waste.
Oh, that's right. He was supposed to dwell in Jerusalem.
And then you turn around, you got to beg them for citizenship. The Messiah's going to beg for citizenship.
Check this out. How are you gonna dwell in the land where radioactive waste, okay, and this unclean place, when the Messiah when Yah specifically told him, when you go out there and use the bathroom, clean up behind you. I'm not gonna be walking all through there.
Unclean.
Messiah come back.
He live in the desert
first.
And then he coming back fighting?
Right, he coming back fighting. He's not going to beg, can I be a citizen? He's the king. People going to be begging, can they dwell in his kingdom? And then, you got to convert. No. So the scriptures again, I'm sorry for getting off on a rabbit trail because I went to Matthew for a purpose, okay? But he says don't be deceived. God has a time, and I was saying that because there's an end, because there's a beginning, there's an end. Okay, look at Matthew 24, verse 22. Yahshua says, 21 says, for then shall be great tribulation. Matthew 24:21. Then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall there ever be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. And so what we're saying is that Yahweh had already established how long this was all going to take place. Remember, he said it's going to be 3.5 years at the time before he actually comes back and reign in Jerusalem. It'll be 3.5 years from the time that the anti-Messiah takes his seat in the most set apart place and claims to be the Mashiach.
For all of the, since we cast out and we got booted off the Creator's schedule, and it's hard for us to understand the times what Yah has allowed when the man of sin rises up and sits in a more set apart place and blasphemes by saying that he is Yahweh. You can guarantee to the T that from 3.5 years from that period, Yahshua is going to return. And by the way, when he turned it back fighting. So that get us back on schedule.
So back in Genesis, in the beginning, we know that since the beginning there'll be an end. And what Yah's doing, he's establishing his plan for creation. And so in giving us the scriptures, he's laying out his plan. There's no idle word. Yah is laying out his plan to his people. Right. Okay? And he did it in 6 days. Look at day 1. Look what happened in day 1, okay? The scripture says in day 1, what happened? Okay? It said that Elohim he separated the light from darkness. Okay? And he saw it was good, verse 4. Elohim divided the light from the darkness. Verse 5, Elohim called the light day and dark he called night. Evening in the morning was the first day. Okay? Look at verse 8. Okay? In verse 8, he says, Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning was the second day. So in the second day, what did he do? He created the firmament,
an expansion in the heaven.
The heaven. He divided waters from the waters in day 2. Right? He said evening, morning, second day, and day 3. Look at day 3. Okay, what did he do in day 3? He caused dry land to appear. All right. And it says, verse 3, see, verse 13, the evening and the morning was the third day. Okay? Look what he did in the fourth day. What did he do in the fourth day? Look at verse 14. Elohim said, let there be light in the firmament against the heavens, okay? To divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, for days and years. I think this is very, very important, okay? He says in verse 4,
and
14.
I like how to read my scriptures, and let them be for signs and appointed times.
Right, and that's
for days and years.
You see, and that's the point. So y'all didn't just put the sun, the moon, the stars in the heavens just to put them out there. There is a reason for the sun and moon and stars to be in the heavens. And so look, it was for signs, seasons, days, and years. So in other words, in verse 1 of Genesis, Yah created time. In verse 14, he created like a clock or mechanism to measure time.
Right.
So he put the sun, the moon, and the stars to help us to stay on track, okay, to keep track of his time. The word signs here in verse 14, it means like a marker. It means like warnings, it says, for memorials. He put seasons, means the word season, moeds, which means appointments, appointed times, okay, and days and years. Now, how does the day become a sign for the sun? Excuse me. How is the sun a sign for us?
Well, according to Bereshit Genesis, when the sun goes down,
yes,
that's the beginning of a new day.
That's the beginning of a new day.
The scripture said evening and morning was the first day.
Right. It says that 6 times. Verse 5, evening morning was the first day. Verse 8, evening and morning was the second day. And verse 13, evening and morning was the third day. And verse 19, the evening and the morning was the fourth day. Verse 23, the evening and the morning was the fifth day. And it says in verse, what's that? Verse 20, verse 31, and the evening and the morning was the sixth day. So 6 times we hear this saying the evening and the morning were a day, right? And we know that whenever Yah says something more than one time, we need to pay careful attention. And so here we know the days begin during the evening. That's why when the sun goes down, that is a new day.
So from sunset to sunset.
That's right. That's what, if you notice, when Yah created, it was dark, right? Darkness covered the face of deep. And then he said, let there be light. And then it was good. And the evening and the morning was day one. So we see Yah establishing, using the sun as a sign. When we see the sun go down, set toward the horizon, that is a sign to us that it is a new day.
Right.
Okay, well, how is the moon a sign for the believers? The moon is a sign for the believers when we look out and we see that, the new month when it appears, there's a crescent moon in the heaven. If the moon is, you just see, barely see a little light in the heaven. Looks like a sea. It's called a crescent moon. When we see that,
you see that on the right side of the moon, right?
It's always in the western sky.
Okay.
It rises in the western sky, and you see the light showing on the right side of the moon. That's a sign to the believers, to Israel, that is the beginning of a new month.
And that's where you get the word month from moon.
Yes. If you look at a dictionary, it'll tell you, look at the word month, it'll say new moon. If you look at the word moon, it'll say month. Okay? That becomes a sign. So Yah gave us those signs for seasons, that means appointed times, for days and years.
And so, again, so you won't be, people, are so misled today, so you out there who may be a little misguided, and so you won't think this is astrology and witchcraft. When they were looking for the birth of the Messiah, they saw the star.
Yeah.
Also, Yochanan wrote, and John wrote in Revelations, there was a wonder in the heavens.
One in heaven.
A woman clothed with the sun, and there was a crown, the moon under her feet, and 12 stars, upon her head. So Yah has it laid out in the heavens. He said, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Yah has systematically set a clock in the sky.
Yes.
to keep schedule.